Smack%, by far the best speedrun of Horizon Zero Dawn. Super fun and super optimized. In this video, I will show you everything you need to know about Smack% so you can start to hunt those sweet Smack PBs as soon as possible. Let's go. So let me go over the splits I use for my runs. Of course, you can always use your own splits, but that are just the splits that work best for me. First of all, we have Song's Edge, which is basically the way from Graveroad all the way to Song's Edge. Then we have Grey Catch, which is the mount ride from Song's Edge to the Water Lodge quest and also includes the mount yeet if you use it. More on that later in the video. Then there's First and Second Gate, which are the main parts of the run. Followed by Snapmaw, which is the drop down from the platform to the Caucus. And at the very end we have Smack Split, which is the staircase and the control room section. And that are all the splits I use for my run. So, let's get into the run itself. First, we're starting off at the climb section here at Graveroad. Already here, the first skip does happen, because we try to skip two handholds that lead all the way up. The first one is pretty simple. You just want to make sure that your movement key is pointed forward. So on mouse and keyboard, it would be W, and on controller, pointed up. The second one is a bit trickier. As soon as Ella's hands leave the fourth handhold, you want to drag your movement stick to the left side or press A on your keyboard. And just before Ella grabs onto the handhold, you need to go back onto your normal forward movement. So drag your stick back up or release the A key and press W again. This trick should skip the first stone handhold. After that, you roll 3 times and jump around the rocks like it's shown in the video. When you reach the ice formation, stick to the left side and jump up until you hit the wall. At this point, you reached the infamous bomb jump, which is a method to gain extra height. To make this strat a bit easier, I would highly recommend playing on a file where Hunter's reflexes are not learned, because this skill affects your bomb jumps in a negative way. To perform the bomb jump, you need to throw a bomb below your feet and jump at the same time when the bomb explodes. That jump will launch you to the next place you can stand on. From there, you find your way up like it's shown in the video. There's a second bomb jump right here, but it's very inconsistent and barely saves any time, so I wouldn't recommend it. After that, you stick to the left side and go through this tight path here. You can easily get stuck here, so I would practice this part more, and you should also try to figure out a way that works best for you. Additionally, there's also a third bomb skip here, but again, it's too inconsistent being worth unless you want to go for the world record. After that, we jump up all the way until we reach the next wide open area, where we need to jump around those cliffs. You see me jumping a lot here at the Song's Edge split, even though rolling is the fastest way of movement in HCD. But if you reach a certain level of steepness, jumping is actually faster. So when you reach the top, you need to jump around those rocks you can see here. It's hard to explain where to jump, so I try to visualize it as good as possible for you. After that, you jump over these ice blocks to the next handhold section. But handholds are slow, so we skip these by going up the left side. After that, there's a mixture of jumping and rolling along the intended way until we reach this position right here. From here, there are 2 versions depending on whether you want to use mount yeets or not. If you don't want to implement them into your runs, which I definitely would recommend as a beginner, you open the map as soon as the campfire turns green. You close it and open it again to cancel the reveal animation and fast travel to the campfire. During the loading screen, you split to finish off Song's Edge. If you want to use mount yeets in your runs, you have to roll a bit further to avoid the glitch that skips the conversation with Bergrand. You can fast travel if you almost reach those bushes right here. Now you successfully finished Song's Edge. On to Grey Catch. At the Grey Catch split, we travel from Song's Edge to the Dam Ruins where we meet Gul'dan. Like I mentioned, there are 2 versions from here, with or without mount yeets. Without mount yeets, you skip the dialogue with Bergrand with the glitch I showed you earlier. But that way, all invisible walls remain in the world and you can't pursue the normal way. Luckily, there's a gap in the invisible wall we can go through and leave Song's Edge. After that, we continue to this wooden building where we roll through. After that, Aloy's monologue should end and you can call your mount.
Her apprentice, who followed the river north.
I would recommend watching to the right or back or the ground to make the mount spawn as consistent as possible.
Any news from the hunt?
The herd isn't running.
When you reach your mount, you follow the shown path until you reach Greycatch. Now with Mount Yeet, this split is a bit different. After you fast travel to the campfire and walk towards the given active quest, the intended cutscene will be triggered because we didn't skip it with the glitch. The reason why we go through this cutscene is that all invisible walls get removed, because we can't Mount Yeet with invisible walls remaining on the map. After you skip through the glorious Arrakis cutscene, you can follow the intended way because all invisible walls are removed now. After that, you continue like normal until you reach your mount. When you reach your mount, you take the left path here to this little marketplace. I won't go into detail on how to pull off Mount Yeets, cause that would blow up the length of this video. But if you want to learn more about Mount Yeets, I would recommend watching Fleur's video. If you have any questions about Mount Yeets or the run itself, you can always ask in the Discord server of the HCD community or mine. After you pulled off the yeet, you roll towards the ruins. From here, both versions are the same again. To finish off Greycatch, you reset from save after the quest updates to cancel Aloy's monologue. During the loading screen, you split, and after that, you enter the ruins by rolling a bit to the right. So now we finally reached the Greycatch, starting off with a relatively easy split without crazy strats. At the very beginning, we need to get up this elevator shaft to reach the control room. Now, to pull off a solid jump that also prevents you from a slow jumping animation, you need to start sprinting and jumping at the same time. Then you climb until you reach this handhold and swing to the left side. After you jumped onto this vertical handhold, it's important to only climb halfway to the top before you jump off to avoid a slow animation. To finish, you take the next small vertical handhold and then jump to the bottom of the last ladder. When you reach the top, you roll towards the door and break it open. After that, you keep rolling until this point right here, where you cut right and jump over the fence. After that, continue to the next door and skip through all cutscenes and dialogue with Gildan. Then you find your way to this tube where we reach this ladder here. To avoid another animation, you roll shortly before you jump onto the ladder. This will also gain you extra height. You continue to this edge where we roll down and press our input to aim to cancel the fall damage animation. Then you want to roll until you almost reach this fence right here. It's important that you don't jump too early, because that will have an impact on how Aloy will land on the ground. If Aloy rolls after her impact with the ground, you won't end up perfectly at the gate valve. So try to jump a moment later rather than jumping too early. When you turned the valve for the first time, you lower the ladder behind you to skip some of Gul'dan's actions late on the run. Then you return to the valve and turn it again. After that, you wait for the quest to update and reset from save. Pay attention to the bottom right corner of the screen where you can see when the quest actually updates. During the loading screen, you split, and that's the first gate. So now we reached the second gate. If you thought you would be done with the hard parts, you are wrong. From here on, you will truly feel the pain that comes with smack. After the loading screen, you turn right and walk towards this fence. You jump over it onto this rusty platform and immediately turn right and jump a second time, which should bring you onto this platform. Pay attention to the exact timing when you jump and turn right. It's important that you jump directly after Aloy's first impact with the platform on the left. Also, don't turn right too early or you might miss the landing and land in the water. I recommend looking forward until you land it and then flick to the right and jump as soon as you can to avoid the intended hanging animation. After you reach the other side by jumping onto this rail, make sure to stop sprinting before you jump over these next rails to skip some stupid animations in the same manner as we did before. Now at the last rail, we want to jump directly to this fence and from there onto the ladder. Then you jump over the gap by sticking to the left and cancel the attach to the handhold and continue helping Gil'dan by letting down the next ladder. When you see the loading symbol in the right corner again, reset from save. Now get ready for some more run killers. We go back to the gap and jump over again. If you keep on the left side and jump in the last possible moment, that's no problem. Then we want to jump over this gap, which is a bit harder. If you feel like rolling before the jump, you can definitely do that. I personally prefer it without it. Also, don't try to land directly on the platform, you won't reach it. Instead, go for this tiny steel bar, which is the only hitbox you can reach with one jump. The next jump to the other side is pretty simple. Then you turn the second valve and immediately head back to the two big bars where you can jump off to the climbing wall. Sometimes the hanging animation when you jump onto this wall can get cancelled, but I have no idea how to pull this off consistently. Now, when you reach the top, you see this triangle here. To get onto the very top, you need to go back and forth like shown in the video. But make sure you aren't too far right when you jump onto the last bar, because that will make you fall down somehow. If you made it and finally stand on the bar, start sprinting to the end of the bar and jump in the last moment before Aloy stops her movement automatically when she reached the end. It's important that you take all momentum to make the jump as consistent as possible. Also try jump in a straight line, close next to the intended handholds, but not too close because then Aloy might lock onto them. When you safely landed on the counterweight, you start launching bombs in this direction. You don't have to use proxy bombs, just stick to normal impact grenades, then you won't have to deal with the remaining proximity bombs chilling on the ground when you want to loot the snap maw. When the valve reached about this height, you can jump off and close the valve wheel. And the moment you press your key to turn the wheel, you also split to finish off the second gate. Snap maw split is pretty straightforward. Roll to the left and roll down the platform. Cancel the fall damage animation with your aim key and loot the snap maw. When you did that, reset from save and split. Now we finally arrived at the last split. When you go up the staircase, I would recommend jumping because that's the fastest way. But it's also a bit harder than just sprinting or rolling. When you reach the top of the ladder, you just roll to the control room. There are some parts where you can cut a bit of time by jumping over some fences, but that's optional. When you reach the control room, fill in the missing parts in the computer. The code is left, up, down, up, and right. Then you open the door, roll once, and spam your interact key to talk to Golden. After that, you get the power cell and reset from save. Now you only have to roll forward and start the last cutscene. You split when Gildan smacks Aloy in the back to finish the run. And that's it. Don't expect too many PBs. Smack is a long journey that can cost you a lot of nerves, but it's also great fun. Also, big shoutouts to Brewing Weaver, Fleur Blur 101 and Just Served who helped me with optimizing this category. If you want to see my world record run of Smack%, the link will be in the description. And you can also check me out live on Twitch. If the video was useful for you, a like and a sub would be very much appreciated, and see you in the next video.